Hey, hello, welcome. Today I will be talking about my top 10 board games that will never leave my collection. A few days ago I actually had a follower asking me if I had like a top 10 or a top 20 on my Instagram, like a post about board games that would never leave my collection. But then I soon realized that if I would make a top 10 or a top 20, that I would have not enough words probably to describe what I want to describe, so I thought what better way to do it than making a video about it. I chose to do a top 10, but then I added 5 extra games that just missed the boat on it. Let's just get straight on into it. The first one is Horrified. Now this one is one of my absolute favorites at this time. It is a spooky Halloween themed, monster themed, obviously cooperative board game that makes players battle the monsters, defeat the monsters. Each monster has to be defeated in a different way. The monsters move around on the board following the players or other survivors in the town. There's supplies placed down on the map and none of it is ever the same. If you work with different monsters, there's always different survivors popping up. You're using different cards. This has a great replayability value. Number 2 is Resident Evil 2. Now obviously I'm seeing the humor of this because Resident Evil 2 is on my second place of never leaving my collection. This is actually a game that we had early on in the collection. We didn't really play it back then, but we've been playing it quite a lot lately and it's been going pretty well. We've also ordered Resident Evil 3 and I backed the new Resident Evil the board game. Players take on the role of one of the famous characters from Resident Evil, fight the monsters, collect the supplies. This sounds a lot like Horrified if I'm talking about it. For any Resident Evil fan, this or any of the other ones, we haven't played the other ones yet, so don't trust me on my word on that one, I guess. But these are amazing games for Resident Evil fans, and if you're a fan you should really get this. And even though it's set scenarios, it always feels different because the zombies always move differently, you play differently, you get different supplies at different times, so it's never really the same thing. So yes, Resident Evil. Number 3 is right here behind me. Pandemic Rising Tide. So I'm a big Pandemic fan, as you might have already guessed or seen if you're coming from my Instagram. Surprisingly, I would choose to keep this one over the regular Pandemic just because it's a bit different. I've been doubting maybe switching this one with the World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King right here that also has a Pandemic system, but I went with this one. It feels a little bit like the classic, but still it adds a little something. You have the water, you have the dams, you have the pumps. This is a really cool one because the water actually comes from different places. You can't really anticipate that much. I feel like this one is a bit harder than a regular Pandemic, but it's so thematically beautiful also. It's really cool and it's something different than just regular Pandemic. Next one, number 4 on my list, also a game that has been with us since the very beginning. We still haven't gotten bored of it. I don't know if we ever will, but it is Hogwarts Battle. This is a heavy box. Hogwarts Battle, deck building, Harry Potter fans, watch out for this one. This is so cool. I do enjoy deck builders. I love deck builders. I love co-op because this is also co-op. You take on the role of one of the Harry Potter characters and then fight all the evildoers that you get to meet in the movies and in the books, and it's just awesome. Not even for Harry Potter fans only. We've already played this with not Harry Potter fans and they also really enjoy it. It's really easy to get into. It has different boxes with different games. The difficulty level keeps on rising throughout the game and it's just a really cool way to get into deck building, learn along the way, and and we love it. This one also comes with 2 expansions already. I don't think they will ever make a 3rd one because I really don't know what they would put in it anymore. The next one on my list, number 5, is actually a game that is currently a bit harder to find. If I'm correct, they stopped printing this game, but we bought this one on vacation. It's a souvenir for us, I guess. It's Potion Explosion. Now this one is really cool. It has these little marbles that are in a dispenser. Players take out the marbles from the dispenser, put them on their bottles, they're brewing potions. Every time that same colored marbles in the dispenser hit each other because you took one out to place on your potion, then all of a sudden they explode, because you know, potion explosion. And then you get to take those marbles too. You can save them in your storage, you can put them on other potions. Once you've completed your potion, you can use that potion for your special abilities to draw an extra marble out of the dispenser, or you can place down a different color, or you can grab like 2 marbles from the dispenser that are not the same color. There's really cool stuff in there. It's great for replayability. The marbles feel really nice. We have the one with a cardboard dispenser. I know there's Potion Explosions out there that have the plastic dispenser. Apparently that one lasts longer, but we've had ours since also quite the beginning of our collection, and it's still going strong. So if you would ever find this one somewhere still for sale, I would suggest buying it because it's just not that available anymore, and I will never be parting with this one as long as there's not a reprint or anything. Out of print games are cool to have in your collection. I do also have Pandemic Iberia in my collection, but I didn't place that one in the list because I prefer playing another Pandemic more. But if we're looking at out of print games, I would never part with them just because they're valuable, they're not that easy to find, and it's just something special in your collection, and I find that really cool. Next game is also a game that is a little bit harder to find. I've already recommended this to a few people and they can't seem to find it either, so I'm not sure if it's out of print. I'm just thinking that there's not a lot of copies out there. But anyway, on number 6, Overbooked. This is a tile placement pattern building game in which players take on the role of airlines, and they're trying to get as much people in their planes as they can. If you place certain people next to each other, you get more points. And also it has the cutest little tower that is the first player token, which is really cool. This is a really fun, thematically designed game. It's really easy also to play. It's really fun. It has a little bit of puzzling, a little bit of pattern recognition, pattern building, the little tiles you can place down. It's just a really cool game. The next game is the reason why this video is a thing now. After I uploaded Splendor, I got that comment from that person asking if I had a top 10 or a top 20. So Splendor is currently on my number 7. I really love Splendor. The cards are really beautifully designed. The gameplay is really easy. It's just set collection, then buying, then building up your engine, planning ahead. You can reserve cards. You can take the one card the other player really wanted or really needed. Plus the gems, the tokens of the gems in here are so great. They feel so good in your hand. They're lovely to play with, and it's amazing. Next on number 8, we have a 2-player game. I think this is the first 2-player game in here. I was doubting if I would put Carcassonne in this one or not, but I went with Botanic because I feel Botanic is just that little bit more. We usually play with 2, so if we play Carcassonne, for instance, pretty much always play with 2, and I feel like this one is a little bit cuter, smaller. There's the panel in the middle in which you pick your cards, you place them down, you decide which one falls off into your garden. You make your irrigation system to make your plants get water. The more plants and the more flowers you have in your garden, garden that are connected to the irrigation system at the end of the game, the more points you get. Also, it's a really cool steampunky design and it's really pretty. On number 9 we have a really small box. Ow. The small boxes hurt the most. The Mind Extreme. Now in this game, players don't communicate with each other and place down cards in ascending or descending order, which is really cool because the Mind, the regular one, also only works with white ascending numbers, but this one has red descending numbers. And sometimes at some levels, players place down the cards face down, so nobody knows which cards which people are placing down. So if you have a 50 and I have a 30, you need to place it down first and then I need to place my card on that, but we're not allowed to communicate. So we just gotta figure that out and see where it brings us. We've never won this game before. It's so hard, but it's so fun. And the last but not least is another small box, Similo. Now I picked Similo History because I really like this edition the most, but I think it might be thrown over when the Myths Similo comes out in Belgium. But this one is really easy. The game exists of one deck of cards and that's it. You can take it anywhere that you want to take. You only need a small space to play on, so it's really handy. It's a really cool filler game. Also, this one is again a co-op game because yes, I do love co-op games. Then I just quickly wanted to talk about the games that just missed the boat. Gloomier. Another one is Marvel Champions right here. I'm not gonna take it out because it's so heavy. Next one is Mysterium. This one has been in our collection earlier on. Our first dexterity game in this list. This is Catch the Moon. And the very last one is also a dexterity game. It's Minara. So that was my top 10 plus 5 honorable mentions that just missed the boat on the list. But hopefully you guys have learned maybe a new game, or I reassured some doubts that you had about a certain game. I hope you find some inspiration for new games in your collection and maybe games that will also never leave your collection. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this one, there's a lot more videos on my channel. I have a lot more videos planned in the future, so feel free to hit that subscribe button because I've got some really good ideas. But again, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.